Okay, so my name is Susan Keiffer, and I have done other interviews as under the Diary of a Walk-In. So that's where I'm gonna like put this one up so that it kind of stays with the others. And me and Kris Gibbs from Colorado Springs are going to be talking today and just sharing what we've been experiencing about the famous event that everyone is talking about. And I'm down here in Florida. So, let's have you start. Maybe, why don't you just say some things about yourself? We're just going to try to flow, and this is going to be very ad-lib.
All right, last time when we did it, we kind of had to like put our little hand up if we wanted to talk or something like that. Otherwise, we're talking over each other. But my name is Kris Gibbs. I do angel readings. I'm a psychic, medium, intuitive. I've done this for about 25 years. Retired school teacher, mother of 2 and grandmother of 3. So that's kind of where I'm at. As far as the energy of the event, I think I kind of forewarned people about this, if I remember, doing an angel talk probably in 2012, which was the last time we had what I want to call an 11 numerology year. And 2018 is an 11 year. And whenever you have master number years, Sue, everybody wakes up spiritually. But that's all a part of what we're going to discuss with the big event, which is not a small wake up on a spiritual level, but a big, big wake up call. It's supposed to be all at the same time with everyone, which is kind of tricky for me to believe because I think everybody has their own personal spiritual journey. What do you think?
Let me just share, because the other day we were both trying to talk at the same time, and I just want to kind of back up to what I've been going through. Because like you said, in 2012 is when, I guess, and who knows if this is going to happen. I just do want to preface that. We never know if this is really going to happen. But yes, this is what we've been waiting for and being told sooner or later is going to happen. So then after 2012 and the big hype with that, everything kind of went, nobody really talked about it much anymore. And so then a couple of years ago, I knew we were still, waiting though for, whatever's coming. And I was just, I was so bored, I said, give me something to do to my guides. And that's when I went heavy duty into learning more about what I do, the iridology, and then most recently sclerology. And it was just so intense of many days and many hours of learning that I knew it was also busy work to keep me occupied, and I couldn't really complain because I did ask to be kept busy. And then suddenly, last January, just a few months ago, really it went back to October, where I started upping my diet, which I consider the next evolutionary phase of a previous book, which had already been called Closer to the Sun, a recipe book for health for the next evolutionary phase of mankind. But suddenly...
Which is awesome. You sent me one. Love it.
So that was, a lot of raw foods, teaching people how to eat, of course, organically, and using food as medicine. But then with the new learning that I just learned, it went up to doing a liquid diet with raw foods. And I was testing it out because it was supposedly, really beneficial no matter what your conditions are to help. And with the word I was given was reset the body. And so I did it for 5 weeks. I tweaked it, got it to where I felt it was very sustainable, just a vegetable drink and a fruit smoothie kind of thing. And there's like a bunch of superfoods in them. But I started to notice that, let me also back up, in the last 2 years, I was putting on weight with hardly eating anything. And I attributed that to, I'm 53, that I was thinking, okay, I went through menopause, and this is what happens. You just gain weight on air, and you don't even have to... eating the same foods.
I've been there.
Yeah, so it was like my body I was just like, okay, this is what happens to females, when they hit this age. But yet, I knew how to eat. Like, there's no question I knew what I should be eating, and I was still eating. But I attribute that to the energies got denser, and we were in, so food became so dense that we actually had to change to a lighter diet to go along with the new energies that are coming in. And so it was like, when I started to do that, the first time was 5 weeks straight with just these liquids, and weight started coming off. My energy levels started increasing. I even had blood work done that showed a third of my immune system increased like rapidly, like in 5 weeks, and so then I was like, okay, is this related in any way to us changing into what's been the long expected crystalline light body type that we're heading towards instead of the carbon-based denser body type? So, you can't believe how light you feel on this liquid diet because it's full of the enzymes.
I can't believe it. Just changing my diet a year and a half ago was just totally amazing, and the weight just went off of mine. But just choosing different types of foods, the raw foods, the whole foods, the good foods.
Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people talking about the event recently, and we'll get caught up to that. But a lot of them are saying, do we need to do anything to prepare? And everyone's saying, yeah, vegetarian, vegan would be better, but they're just kind of leaving it there. And what this is it's upping it to a liquid level. So and I was guided to do this. I was pushed to do this, and I've been heavily guided. There's other background videos I've put up on YouTube, but when it started all coming off of me, I was like, okay, that was one thing. I started to question: is this related to the getting into a lighter body? You have to eat less dense food. But then in January, all my electronics just started crashing. Everything had to be upgraded. My Wi-Fi, my laptop, just many electronics all at once. And I know that's also a sign of a frequency disruption type thing. Yeah.
But we have solar flares going on right now too. And we are doing that shifting with the energy as well. And it's really it's been kicking off since January this year. A lot of light workers felt it earlier because we always feel things 2 to 3 months ahead of time. We usually feel things, like I said, a quarter before, sometimes a semester is what I used to call it. Like 3 to 6 months before, light workers will feel what everybody else is going through because we have to be the teachers for everyone else. We are like the forerunners of it. So yeah, you are going through that, and all my stuff broke in November and December. I don't know if you remember talking to me like, no, computer's down. Oops, now it's back up. Nope, now it's down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I even have this EMF protector for my house that was like, it was off. And I was like, wait a minute, that's always supposed to be on. Now it's on again. So everything's back up and online.
Good.
But also though, so in January though, I started to say, because I was being really, really pushed to learn this information, and to me it felt like because something was approaching, and I was feeling like something was approaching in the June time frame. And so that's when I was like, I need to call you and ask you if you're picking up what I'm picking up.
Yeah, but we thought something was going to happen last July. And we are still in the wait zone, but we are feeling it. I think you and I both have talked how we are just light years ahead. Things have shifted so much. Just every month we go through such massive transformations, and they have to come internally, and then we see things on the outside. But we do react from the shifts and changes that hit us on the outside. I'm sure when all that hurricane hit you guys in Florida, you were ready to like say, woo, how are we going to react to this on the inside?
Yeah, so then though, I started to suspect in February, just something came to me that was like, is this about the event? I started to say, is this about the event? Like, and it hadn't been thought of in 6 years. But so I just went on YouTube and just looked around. Is anybody talking about this again? And I happened upon a tiny clip that did mention, the first quarter of 2018. But I was just like, okay, sure, times come and go. But that's interesting that somebody's saying that. And then I still didn't really totally connect it, and then we talked, and I was still guessing. Yeah. I was still guessing with you, and you were still like, I'm not really picking that up either. And it was almost like they were hiding it, but they were starting to poking it. The tendrils were starting to come through. That yes, you're starting to get something. There is something, but it wasn't until another friend of mine came to see me, and she started talking about it also. So I was like, okay, let me go research some more on the YouTubes, and this was just like last week.
So, yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and all this time, they have not wanted me to look at YouTube, and I've known that for at least the last 5 months or longer. They've just been, don't even look at YouTube. We're going to keep you so busy. You have no time for YouTube, and that's what I always told people. I can't look at anything you're sending me. I have to finish this, and it was such an urgency. It was overwhelming. So then, finally, though, it was like, you know, they were like, okay, here. We're opening the door. Now you can go look at YouTube. And when I looked, then, you know, like one of the first ones was Allison Coe, which everyone is talking about. But I noticed her most recent one had only been posted like the prior week. So even if I had looked any sooner, it wouldn't even have been up there. And then a couple other confirming ones that I liked were the Christopher and Angela one that she mentioned.
That was really interesting. And what I wanted to comment about that one is, it's so true, since I've had the experience of going to the other side in the heavenly realm and back. And in the heavenly realm, everything is in a now. On earth, we are in a time zone. And I would say it felt like maybe 2 to 3 seconds on the other side, which was equal to maybe 12 to 15 minutes here, and it would be like nanoseconds. So when Christopher's son was talking to her, and he's like, it's around the corner, it's coming soon. But I love, and if you want to share it, the whole idea of the symphony of being out of, well, you go ahead and take over, because I love the way.
I know, and that's another thing. So in other words,
so true, because we're in the chaos right now.
So like my guides were like, okay, yeah, look at this one, look at this one, look at this one, look at this one, and suddenly they were directing me. So I spent like just one day catching up on everybody, and of course, then all of a sudden the floodgates of excitement are through the roof, and that's about when you called me back, and you were like, say what you said. How you said they were like...
It was just this whole idea that there is an event, but what's going on with the event? We talked about both of us being cloaked. We couldn't go there. We couldn't see it. Although you and I both looked at time travel, going, is this really the way it's going to be? What's really going on?
No, but how you said your guides were like, you need to call Sue. You need to call Sue.
Right. Oh, yeah. For like 3 or 4 days, I was like, call Sue, call Sue, call Sue. And we have our own little connection, you know, with just doing
But and that's the time frame at the same time.
It was like, I have to talk to Sue because there's something going on that I need to learn from. And that's more and more what's going to be happening in our future. That when we are guided with a person in our thought, we need to connect with them. And in the future, I still believe that we're going to have the 4, what I call gifts from God: seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing. And I believe that's just around the corner of what everybody is going to be uploaded. And even that, the interview with Kris and who was it? Gabrielle, I think was her name. Angela. Was that her name?
Angela and Christopher?
Angela, yeah. Anyway, between the two of them, they were talking about healing domes. And I need to let you know that they have shown me those healing domes. There's a big one over Sedona. There's another larger one that's over around the Portland, Seattle area. I have seen both of those before in a vision, in a dream, and described exactly the same way that Christopher described them.
Yeah, and also then I watched another person who I always forget his name, but he just happened to pop up. His name starts with an A. I couldn't even tell you. It's like 6 letters long, and it just happened to come up. But he channeled somebody. I don't know, somebody. He was channeling, and he kind of moves like this, if anybody knows who that is. It's like Arula, Averola.
I haven't seen him, but
I don't know. But anyway, though, the interesting thing about him, it was only like 10 minutes, but his people also used the example of the symphony, and they said that, they said in his thing was that the show is like everybody's taking their seats, the orchestra is done rehearsing, the curtain is closed, the room is dark, and the curtain is about to open. And it was the same thing as Christopher had said, and with no reference. And he
they haven't even connected.
Yeah, they were channeling. So my guides, in other words, are there the whole time like that for like a day or two. They were like, look at this, like suddenly they did all that, and then
sending you where you need to go to get the information to be better prepared. Maybe we should explain, if we're tape recording this for others, what do you see the event actually being? Because I have different viewpoints on it from what others have said, but it is truly a spiritual wake-up call across not just the United States, the whole world.
Yeah.
And we have that cosmic show that's going to be going on with us truly seeing 2 and 3 planets. And it's just going to be us being, well, they've always told me that our solar system is what we see with the 3D eye. What we can see with the 5D eye and higher is a totally different solar system. The planets all of a sudden start coming into view. And I can see that, but we've got to get to the point where humanity doesn't freak out over it.
Yeah. So then they kind of backed off after they gave me that huge like confirmation, like this is all happening. Hold on, I'm getting a message here. Anyway, so so then they backed off, right? This was just last week, but they did all this thing, infused all this fires, flamed the fans, like yes, you can look at YouTube now. This is true. We're confirming it with you. And then you called, so that was another confirmation. And then I met another girl who actually said she had a shamanic vision in 2011 that had to do with and of course that liquid diet is raising frequencies. So in other words, the point of that though now was to and I always used to use this example, and before 2012, like in 2005, I used to say to people, the human body is like an electric socket was the analogy I was given, and that it was the equivalent of having your whole yard had Christmas lights, your whole house had Christmas lights, but they all plugged into one socket. And if that socket, which is our human body, is not is corroded, is dirty, is dense, you haven't gotten
the battery of the car.
Yeah, you haven't gotten toxins out, you haven't cleared negative emotions. Then when this one outlet plug goes to plug into you, it would blow a fuse, you would short circuit, you would like potentially self-destruct. Whereas if you were a clean socket, you had been cleaning yourself of toxins, karma, relationships, emotions. Then when it got to plug into you, the whole light show of the yard and the house would light up all at once in that one instant. And I was told this in 2000, like I said, the early 2000s. So I was told back then I had 7 years to prepare people for 2012 because it takes like 7 years to really completely change all your cells.
And we thought that 2012 something big was going to happen, but I think that was the beginning stages of everybody doing a real, what I want to call a health wake up too.
Right. Yeah. So then this time around, though, with the liquid phase now, it was kind of like this is really lightening you up and really readying you. Of course, it's not really enough time for people who haven't been working on this for at least 2 years, but whatever you can do, in other words, is what they were saying. Because I was like, how am I possibly going to speak to enough people to get this liquid diet? For it's just a 30-day reset. It resets, on a molecular cellular level, your body, enlightens you and cleans you out.
Yours, just do one little person at a time.
Well, I know, I'm talking about with them. I'm like thinking, trying to figure out what are they doing, why is this urgent, yet how am I going to reach all these people, or as many as I can, let's just say. Because I was like, by June, because in my mind, there's something occurring by June. And so I was like, whatever, maybe it's just for me. It's for me to be ready on a, in the meantime, I teach whoever I can, but it's more for me. So that's how I was trying to look at it. Anyway, go on.
We have 3 eclipses this year. We have a small one in the middle of July, a big kick butt one the end of July, and then another very strong one again in the middle of August. And I think it's pretty interesting that, not that this plays into it, but yet it does, that our last 2 eclipses have been in a Leo energy, take care of yourself, all about me, wake up, take care of you, because you've got to be able to take care of you to be ready for the event. But then the other part of that eclipse is the 2-part kick butt, is the Aquarius, which is take care of humanity, take care of others, share what's working with you out to the world so they can be better prepared. But this also, the event is a part of this compassion of the heart-to-heart connection, that we are all in oneness. And as much as we want to fight and do that, what I would call that practicing of the instruments before the calmness of the storm, before, we're in the storm of everybody kind of doing their own thing. But I do see a unionizing of humanity coming together, and I've seen that for a long time. But it's very difficult in what you see in the 3D that can be so different when you're in what I want to call that meditative state or that 5D. And I I'm ready for everybody to get along.
Yeah, and so the other thing that in my reviewing of YouTubes that they wanted me to look at was I went back to, a couple years ago even on like the date I was looking, it was like March 25th, 2016. And it was saying back then this would be in 12 to 24 months. Well, it worked out where it was June though, May or June, and it was 2 years ago. And then I saw one that was 1 year ago, and it was still saying like May or June. So it was kind of giving me confirmation. I'm kind of thinking. I mean, it's hard to imagine that there's going to be one huge event, but also though in the Bible it says that every knee will bow. Like people are saying, this would knock you over.
Everybody will be amazed.
But it says every knee will bow too. So
love it.
That's.
But it's. What others have said is also that when this happens across, and they say it might be purple in the sky, a lightning streak in the sky, a rainbow sign in the sky might go dark and then light. Who knows if it's not going to happen during an eclipse time, like in the Renaissance time, everybody was scared, and they wake up and things change. But I look at this and that if people are not ready, they also say, well, if you're in a weird position or whatever's going to happen, if you're like trying to eat, are you going to just stop eating because this happens? Are you going to stop, doing bodily function stuff? It's like, what's really going to be happening? And what they say is that because things happen in such a quick instant, you are going to feel like you're in your body, not in your body, and then thrown back in your body in ready state. And those that are going to be out of their body are going to the healing domes and then coming back and being thrown back in their body. Now, we have to understand that we have man-made time. On the other side, they do not. So in something that could be a nanosecond, can be 10 years of, in our thinking, time of healing on the other side, that can happen in a nanosecond time before you are gone and back in. What we call a minute can just be, the timing is what is so confusing. But like you said, the Bible says we will have that bow down on the knee. I'm seeing that many people will be amazed at what they see, either beside themselves or from the sky.
Yeah, so I think also one of the clues that I've been getting is like when you talk about this with people, there's 3 reactions that they have. And I've always been like somebody to plant seeds. Just plant seeds so people aren't shocked. Even if they don't believe you, just plant the seed, say it out loud, and let it be heard how it wants to be heard. But there's 3 reactions. Either people, well, of course, don't want to hear anything, don't believe anything. They've heard too many things, and that kind of reaction. Then there's people who react in a fear mode, where they're just like,
oh my God, what do I need to do?
Yeah, whatever. So it's a fear trigger.
But we're reminded not to be in fear.
Yeah, of course. But so I'm going to get to why this is. And then there's another group that is super excited, and their eyes light up. And so I think, and then there's another group who's just kind of like an observer, like, oh, maybe not. I don't have any emotion about it. I don't have any feeling for it. Nothing. But the people who are excited for it, I think that that's one of the clues that, like, for them, it is going to amp them up significantly. And maybe they'll be the only one who notices anything also. That could, I'm just guessing.
Well, from my understanding is, for those that are ready, it'll be an exciting point. For those that are not ready, it's a wake-up call. That's all it can be.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say, that everyone's going to go up whatever their next level is, and some people are going to be taken off planet, even just temporarily, and I have no feeling for any of that. I'm just observing, how my guides work, and that part I do know. Who's ever getting excited, that's a clue right there that they're in a match with this frequency.
Because they've been preparing already. And the 2 things that I heard, I think it was from Alice and Co., that said, what can we do to get ready for this? Because it's really the light workers that are tuning into this. The people that they don't care, they don't feel the energy, like you said, they're observers, they're in fear. And everybody's at different levels. It has to be that way on Earth. It always has.
Yeah.
It always will.
And no judgment. No judgment. It's just, this is the way they are. But she said, if you can get into a healing mode and understand some aspect of healing, you are going to be needed, and that is what Earth is going to be needed
even in the shift, some type of healing. So she was talking about whether it's the hands-on healing or the Reiki or the Huna healing, the Tantra healing, the Prana healing, any type of healing. And she said the second thing, if I remember right, and maybe it was the other guy that was talking to her, but the second part is meditation. So you can get more of your energy in alignment with what it's going to feel like in the future. And when you're in meditation, you are at that peacefulness, that blissfulness, that I don't really care whatever happens to the world or my body. It is just my mind going forward, creating the goodness, the peace, the calm, the ohms, whatever you do. And so, and she did suggest doing at least an hour of meditating. And meditating can be just walking in nature. That's a type of meditation. Yeah. Everybody thinks it has to be sitting with their, their, I don't know,
legs crossed,
yoga posture, going ohms, and it's not that way. You can do 5 and 10 minute meditations here and there. I meditate in the morning, I meditate at night.
Yeah, and I would just counsel people to say, strive for neutrality. If you don't believe this, just strive for a blank mind, a blank slate of emotions, and have no preconception of what. If you can be a blank vessel, that would be to your advantage.
That would be helpful.
And not that I know what's going to happen. That we don't know. But I was given that they shined up. They opened up a door. Here it is. Yes, it's coming. Blah blah blah.
Excited. It's going
but then they closed it back up again, and so now they're like, we showed you. It was like, here's your sneak peek. Now we're closing the door again, and so. But yet, Easter is coming up on Sunday, so I'm like, oh, that would be interesting if something actually they did. I do have to say, like last night, I did between 3 o'clock in the morning and like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was having vertigo in my bed, which I know is
I've been having it for 2 weeks now.
And then even I did have a lucid dream also, which is rare for me, but I had one, and there was a pink butterfly in a white box, and I was like, wow, I can actually look at this from many angles, and there was other items to explore, and I was about to like just take my time thinking, oh, I'm in a lucid dream. I'm going to just take my time and look around, but all they did was show me the pink butterfly in a white box, and then I went out of the dream, but I was like, because supposedly, we might be getting little tendrils, sneak peeks ourselves until I don't have enough.
To be doing that with little sneak peeks, and I love your butterfly dream because butterflies always are transformation changes. The pink to me really represents what I want to call soft. Usually it's the green for the heart energy, but pink can be heart energy. Pink can be the feminine energy, and it's not necessarily for everyone going to be a shock wake up for the event. I do believe that it could be what I want to call a soft feminine awakening too, because we've all been told we need to shift from the patriarch to the matriarch energy, and that's a part of this Aquarius energy when it is supposed to also actually happen. So
yeah, the other thing I wanted to bring up again though, because that day when we were talking a few days ago, we were both just like, because I had just got it, you had just got it. So now you can share, and I couldn't talk then, and that's why we rescheduled to now. But you were saying though that you were starting to see more and more people talking to you about a certain.
Just waking up. I've never been You know me, I quit teaching, so I jumped into doing this spiritual counseling, or, that there has been more and more mediumship, which is talking to the dead on the other side of bringing wonderful, enlightening events. And you can't die yet. There's something bigger coming, which is like a clue into the event. And it's also being permission of other dead loved ones, of partners saying, I need you to move on and move forward with love in your heart. It's very important for you to open up and continue, whether that's with body love or emotional love, instead of feeling like you need to be stuck and depressed waiting for me. My heart and my love is always with you. Do you not understand this? We will be together soon, but while you're walking earth, you still need to open up to more levels of love. And that is a real, real strong one, where I'll do mediumship here and there, but not like I did on this 3-day big Denver event. And it was so much of wonderful loved ones coming through. It's such a empowering event that many times most people, they're not to the level of what kind of car do I need to buy, and am I going to, go bankruptcy or not, or, what kind of a house, or should I move or not. But there's much transformation going on, but it's a big wake-up call of everybody saying, I'm seeing ghosts, what's going on? I'm hearing voices, what's going on. I'm like smelling smoke, what's going on, and there's no fire around. So people are opening up to what I want to call their intuitiveness at such a high level, and they're sharing, whether it's through an email or talking to me on the phone, events of, I was just told that I have to tell this to you, or I need to let you know that I had this strong emotional feeling and I just had to share it with people, and I've never done that before. Is that okay? And I was like, yes, like wake up to that, because people in our day and age, we're opening up that this intuitiveness is okay to be discussed. But in many parts of society, and there's dense areas across the United States, you don't talk about that. Like where my sister and my mom live in parts of Kansas, you don't talk about that. Okay.
So also though, so what you just started to say, you're saying that people who had passed on in their lives,
Yes.
loved ones, were telling them, you want to stay around, you don't want to leave yet.
Exactly, and that was one of the big things I was seeing. It's not time for you to leave, because when somebody's just lost a husband, a wife, a mom, a dad, sometimes they don't want to stay. It's like, I can't support myself without my mom, or I've taken care of her the last 20 years. Where's my life going to be? So they want to cross over too. And I was like, no, your mom is saying you need to be here. There's something bigger or better happening for you. You're not understanding. But they wouldn't always tell me the what or the why. It was more many times personal, individual messages. But I've just never had so many come through on a 3-day event like I did then.
And then that's when you called me. So, but then at that point you were already saying it's the event. So what triggered you
I was
to?
like, I can't remember.
Because I started saying, because back in February, only a month ago, I was saying, is this because of this? And I still had no real. It was just starting to come in.
It didn't click in because it's really been kicked off. I just want to say in the last, I don't know. It's like we've been given signs, but we didn't know what to call it. So if people are calling it the event, then at least we have a name for it. And I think we discussed how we had an evangelistic event in the late 1800s that was the Great Revival. And that's just a part of history that I've taught before, because there was a lot of not only psalms that was sung during that time, but there was just a great revival, especially in the south of the United States, of everybody being saved and feeling euphoric, and just this good feeling that was going on and sweeping the nation of what they want to call the Great Revival. But that was a human event. How do I want to say it? Going on with churches and everybody going to the country, and everybody had to be a part of everybody else. It was, to me, more keeping up with the Joneses. If you're saved and religion helps you, then I want to join it too. This is something different that is more not just in the United States, but worldwide.
Yeah, and then when I went back and re-listened to our recorded talk last month, I started to say, how many times did I bring that up? Did I bring that up? And I listened, and there was like 4 different ways. But then at the very end, without naming names, you also mentioned seeing a couple of people being taken out by a huge wave, like a tsunami wave.
Yes,
and at the time I said, is this an energetic wave or is this physical? And you were saying, of course, water. But I still went back and looked at that going, maybe it is the energetic wave, because you did say that you see a huge wave.
I have seen aspects of earth changes, of the volcanoes hitting, of the flooding, of the hurricanes and the tsunamis. I've seen that many times. That's still part of what I want to call the chaoticness of the world. But it doesn't mean that there's not going to be, at the same time or right afterwards, an energetic wave too. Okay. But they won't let me say things until they're ready to let me say things.
Right, exactly. And I know. And that's why they wouldn't even let you tell me anything. They wanted to show it to me myself, because the people who are here, they're like, no, part of the whole deal is for you to be discovering yourself and surprise yourself, and not just to have someone tell you, oh, it's going to happen on this day. So there's no surprise.
We're not going to know. Not a single human is going to know, is what I've been told.
Well, so interesting.
I was looking into that and when is it? It's coming. It's soon.
Right.
I can't tell you. It will be a surprise. You all will be surprised. It'll be okay. And don't worry. Just don't get in fear. False evidence appearing real. And Nibiru is not what you think. It's very good. It's just
Nibiru.
Ancestors. How do you say
Nibiru or Nibiru.
Nibiru. I call it the wrong thing. Nibiru is basically our ancestors watching Earth closely and making sure that our rulers are not going crazy with, bombing the blitz out of Earth.
Yeah, so that's another thing to let people know. Planet X is not for fear. It's actually, I consider it a spiritual, positive thing that potentially could be the thing that is pushing this electromagnetic wave, or in the surf of this electromagnetic wave. Somehow I think it's related. And not negative at all, like all those fear.
No, it's very positive, but that's why they've seen it come, and it's not here, and it's here, and it's not here. It's simply a big spaceship that is disguised or cloaked as a planet. That's what it is. And I've never felt negative about it. I think even when we talked about it, I was like, I don't know. It's like, I don't see it hitting the Earth. It's never going to hit the Earth. Like, it has people that run it. Like, we are told we're in a hologram down here. We've all felt like we've been in a hologram. And I think there was a comment that somebody talked about with the Mandela effect that was on that interview with Angela and Kris, that it was us reminding ourselves to be playful during this time because it's about ready to happen.
Right, and also since Christopher was so down to earth and so talking in his earth language,
Yes.
I was just also curious. You can try, or maybe someone will come through or not, but to see if even like my sister or Robert maybe would like come through that sort of way and say,
because when they come through, they come through as how they were on Earth for us to be able to connect with the individuals.
So is there anyone
your
wanting
sister,
to say anything?
Yeah, your sister's wanting to. Well, she just comes in and says that she's still sorry for what she did, not taking care of herself. However, her job was to be on the other side during a part of this event. She knows that her children will be quite surprised and that they are growing in different ways.
You mean surprising?
Yeah, she says they're growing fast. They are very sensitive beings. They will be quite surprised with all the changes coming. So glad I gave birth to two wonderful beings that will get to experience this. That's what she wants to talk about.
Wow, so she is confirming it.
Yes. She says we're all working on different parts of Earth's ascension, is what we call it. Different people have different jobs. Most of you, well, through me, they said, we've talked to you, Kris, that you know that there's, on the heavenly realm, very much Earth, but it's on the other side. In other words, much of the heavenly, or the spirit world, the heavenly realm, the other side, whatever you want to call it, I'm not attached to the name, the vortex, people say is very much similar to Earth, only in Earth we have the bodies and we have dualities. On the other side, there is no dualities. There is only positive. We only have the positive half, but there is similarities like Earth. But the moment you think it is created. Like for us to create maybe the Statue of Liberty that took, 3, 7, 10 months, a year, 2 years, it would be a nanosecond built, boom. So we don't have the concept that much of the best we could do is calling ourselves God and goddesses here on Earth is similar to the equivalence of the manifesting that they do on the other side. It is almost unthinkable on an earthly fashion what we do create on the other side.
Oh, this is all what she just said. She was saying all that.
She's saying all that.
Oh, so
she just wanted you to understand that, Sue, you're not going to have limitations in the future. Understand?
But she, of course, can't give a time frame either, like this summer. Or...
No one knows. We're all orchestrating it. However, the timing of where we call time, we don't have time. You have time. It is soon. That's what we can say. It is soon. But yeah, even no matter who I ask, they say it will depend on when the earthlings are at a certain energy level before they will move it. They keep talking about moving the earth, ascending the earth. And the ascension has to be all individuals that have human hearts and human souls, all the souls on planet Earth have to get at a higher level. Because if we would be like plugging in the wrong plug-in, we don't want to kill you guys. You wouldn't be killed. It's very much like a science project, and you have to be very careful. in the idea, like, they're trying to give me different things like, and these are the angels coming in instead of your sister now, saying, we're trying to show you like an operation that you have to have everything in a ready state before you can put somebody in an operating table. They have to at least have certain levels of heart pressure and breathing levels and things like that. So Earth cannot be operated on, moved, shifted until there's more souls in a ready state. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting. However, you are far, far, far behind what most of the universe is at. So we are having to amp you up, or they said it's like a lobotomy, but it'll be like electric shock to wake you up. Because if somebody was dying and not wanting to be there anymore, you would put those like plug-ins that they put on, like the EMTs, to wake you up. They said it's much like the electrifying amp that wakes you up to come back to life.
Like the paddles.
Over.
Yeah,
like the paddles. Yeah, they're like, they said that's what we're going to be doing. That's the best vision we can show you that we're going to be doing with all of humanity. However, it is going to feel to many like a big wake-up call. To others, it's going to feel like, wow, more people are at our level, because many of you are very high already. So for those of you that are already to the level of seeing, hearing, knowing, just the levels of, you've already crossed over and come back, you are at that level of where many will be coming to. So it's not going to be like you're trying to share that there's goodness in them. They already know there's goodness in them.
So, it was interesting
how they're showing that. I mean,
and also how you said the word plug-in, which was my analogy with the light.
Because it's like we're getting plugged in. Yeah.
To the electric socket, and we're the electric socket.
Yes, and that's what the angels are sharing with me to share with you. Yes, that at this point in time, humanity is not at a ready state. It's going to be so much fun to be able to learn so quickly, so fast, like you've been held back, and there's going to be no holding back to all of what you can do. I've always had dreams of like being in the Star Trek space shuttles with the mock stuff, and I remember growing up saying, gosh darn it, I want to learn to fly. I wish I could get into the Air Force and be a man and fly, because when I was younger, they didn't allow females in. Well, they do now, thank you, but when I was real young, it was kind of like, these are the girls' jobs, these are the boys' jobs, and there is none of that. All humanity will be able to do whatever they want.
And here's the other thing that you said, was how she said, we don't want to destruct anyone, we don't want to damage anybody, with that same plug-in analogy, like,
right,
that the electricity.
Ready, they could blitz them to the other side. Part of why the healing domes are ready, so that humanity can be uplifted out of their body in a hologram event that will be a second of your lifetime, maybe a minute or two. It's almost like if you've seen the movies where everybody stops. I don't know whether it was like in the Matrix or whatever, where everybody was just stopped.
Oh yeah, suspended.
And you can walk around them suspended in time. Some of it will be like that we will all be in a suspended of timeness, where some will go and be healed. Those that don't need to be healed will already say, this is really cool, let's enjoy the dream-like state we're in, and then the rest will be thrown back into their body and it will be continued, but they will have gone through a plugged-in shift.
And possibly not remembered it.
I already get that you still have to have your memory to be able to move forward.
That would be great.
Memory isn't part of being a gift of being a human.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It is interesting that you will have beyond memory of many, many past lives, which only some can gather, and memory of, I'm trying to say, is memory of the future. That's like when we did the progression, remember? But they're saying everybody will have memory still, but that's a part of why we come down to earth, to have the memories of the loved ones, of the ones we are at. We still have memory when we go to the other side. However, it's a different type of memory. Yeah, it's like life is everlasting. I mean, our soul goes on, our emotions go on, and our personality or ego goes on. It's just our body that doesn't. And so we love to have the body because of the things that we can learn faster in the body because of the challenge. So as a soul, there is no challenge on the other side. It's just fun. Okay,
well,
there's no we want challenge here on Earth, and most of us wanted the challenge of the shifting to go on because of how our body is in limitations now. But once the shift happens, we're going to the point of very few limitations.
So also just checking in, like, because again of Christopher, if Robert had anything to say that he's working on over there.
Engineering. He just keeps talking about numbers and engineering. Although he may not have had the engineering brain that you knew him to have, that's been something that he has always been good at, but did not know until he returned. That there has been, I just keep seeing him, as we are behind computers, but how do I put it? There was a movie where we shrunk and we went into a time machine, all right? Honey, Don't Shrink the Kids.
Yeah.
Okay, he does some of that, is what they say. However, it is more like stepping into a 3D computer, moving, rearranging things, testing things on an engineering computer level. However, it is much, much, much beyond the human level of even the highest computer.
So possibly for Earth?
That's what he was doing. He's doing things major on a cosmic force level that has to do with rearranging things. In other words, he's manifesting and building galaxies, I guess is the way I'll put it.
Oh, not related to the event or Earth?
Yes. If he does not rearrange these at a certain level by a certain time, Earth is not going to be able to ascend. He is a part of what they call the orchestrating of planets in a certain level. There has to be more planets created to help with the Earth's shift, or more planets that want to also be part of the shifting. It's really funny. Like, we can create babies in 9 months. They can create planets like very quickly. All right, so if there's a desire, how do I put it? It's really tricky. If we have a desire, we want 2 children. We have one. We really try hard to get the second one here on Earth. And then, yay, we have a second child. We're so excited. Okay, he manifests planets all the time because these planets are like in thought forms and they're wanting to be created. So he is like, what I want to say, a orchestrator or a father of planets, and he goes back and he watches them because they're similar. I know it sounds like he's this grand God creator thing, but he said you can do whatever you want on the other side. And he wanted to be great of empowerment. You knew that of him, and was very frustrated and angry about much of the delays on the Earth planet. I don't know this man that you know that is your son's father. I don't know him that well. I knew of him, but his personality on Earth is quite different on what I want to call the creating and the love for what he takes care of not like one baby, but a whole planet of, of species that is just beautiful, that also want to be a part of the ascension level. So if you are in charge and you've done a lot of hard work in all the different lives that you've had, then he was given like knighted to say, go out and do the battle. But his going out and doing the battle is that of creating. I keep seeing like 4 planets. They said between 3 is on his 4th planet of creation, and he is the one that goes down and connects with creating the politics there and creating the growing and creating things. And he goes in and he talks to the different people that are head hierarchies of these planets that want to just go through and experience a change like what Earth is going through. So in other words, if you want to be a part of the change like Earth is going in, then you've got to be created and get your butt on the level of them. And this might be a planet that if it took us 50 years, I mean, how long has our technology been? Like when I was a child, a computer was this big thing that was in NASA. Okay, it was like, I don't know if you ever watched the Hidden Figures movie, that's what you were dealing with, called a computer. Okay, so right now they're saying in some levels you can create planets in our 1 to 2 days time and watch it just grow and grow and grow. And these are planets that want to experience an acceleration, acceleration of their own. So he's a part of what I want to call that, which is really interesting because he says he just can't get his planets made fast enough because he knows that this core energy that's coming from a main source, I want to say God's source, that's piercing the universe, we're going to be a feeling an aspect of that piercing, and it's almost like walking through clouds, okay? And when we go through the cloud, we can feel at the beginning of that cloud, or like Mists of Avalon from that movie. When we go through a cloud, we come through on the other side. It's quite different. That's what our ascension much will feel like, but he's got to get these planets made before they hit the cloud, before they hit the piercing, or what we call the wave. So he's giving some ideas a little more to the best of our ability of our visuals. But you asked what he was doing. He says he loves you, and he says thank you so much for giving birth to Sammy, and that Sammy is going to be a part of healing in the future in his own engineering way. You know that.
So,
well, that's a lot. Sorry, did you get all that?
Oh no, yeah. I have a question about it.
Because I don't remember everything when it starts coming through.
So he was saying though that he has to do this before this is coming because he's feeling the time crunch. But he also can't give a like when kind of thing to us, like this year. In other words, no.
But he needs you to understand that although it's taken us a long time for our planet Earth to be created, we have been cloaked in a slowness stage. We've also had fights of dark side because we chose to be created as a planet of both positive and negative. When you're allowing that, as well as the planet that you have, which is called, I'm talking about how our timing of how our planet Earth was created took a long, long time. However, when we're being clothed here because we have both positive and negative. And what's interesting with Earth that no other planet has, well, we want to say very few other planets have, because he says there are a few we've heard of, although I have not had the time or energy or desire to visit them, because once you've been on Earth, you kind of feel like you know the others, that we have something called free will. Free will is a big decider of when we are choosing to go through the shift, because we have free will. However, they're finally saying, sorry, we're going to not necessarily take away the free will, but we're going to help push you into more of a free will of, you're getting ready to hit the cloud. So, you know, your free will has been having as long as Earth has been around. But right now, I don't know how, that's really interesting that they're wanting me to bring up free will. Do we have free will in the future? Yes, we do. Do we have free will in a different way? Yes, we do.
So are you saying that they're saying, we're going to do this for you, whether you want or choose
it or not? Exactly. However, that's never been allowed before. There's being permission to say, Earth is holding everybody else down. However, we've got to move Earth up. It's been cloaked, but it's been the one little planet that's had the fighting of the good and the bad and the good and the bad and the good and the bad. And so there's always been allowed what I call the light and the dark, the light and the dark. Most planets don't even have a choice of dark. That's what you need to know. That's what the angels are saying. You need to know you're a very unique little planet. That's why everybody loves to go, because there's so much more challenges here than there is anywhere else. Everywhere else on most planets, you think it's created. You think it's created. You can have fun. It's like a Sims machine, a Sims game. Do you know what the Sims game is?
Or like Dr. Seuss?
Kind of like that. But there's like a Sims game that is, you get to create your own family, you get to create your own houses, you get to create your own city. It's a creation game.
Oh, online, a computer thing.
Online,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's a game,
yes.
a video game.
Yeah.
And my daughter always had fun with that, and now we have grandkids that enjoy this. And so it's like a game on planets, but they understand it's temporary. If you don't like it, boom, just leave. Okay, but here we've been given this societal thing that when you leave, I think maybe Esther Hicks and Jerry Hicks were the ones that really had it down, is you just croak, but you don't die. Don't you guys get this? No, because we've been taught when you die, you die. Okay, but life is everlasting because there's parts of you that just keeps on living. However, we're too stuck in the fear of the unknown. But there is something called free will that will still happen, but they're trying to give humanity as long a time for free will as was being told before they do, like you said, step in to do the changes. But it's not a stepping in. It is a happening event, that because of this happening event that the Earth planet is in the way of the piercing light coming, had it been in another place in the solar system, we could have maybe had another 100 years, but because of the placement of where it's at in the cosmic world, and we have to really understand we're just like a tiny little grain of sand in the whole part of all the sand of Earth, and that's a lot of sand. Okay.
So, do you think though that juice, since you're talking to them now,
Yes.
what do they have to say about that juice, the liquid diet, the reset?
They've always been trying to tell us that anything that is raw and natural and good,
I mean, regarding this event though, and the urgency to do it now.
they've already been trying to get everybody to change their way of eating. And they're saying whether it is raw fruits or a liquid of raw fruits, both are good for the body.
And it will assist this event though, it will help?
Yes, because anything, well, we all know that you got to get your temple, like what you were talking about. If you have a part in a car that you've kept clean and you've taken care of it, and you have a car that's running versus just it's corroded, it's not working, you haven't taken care of it, you've been running it to the max, it'd be the same as our body. We've even been told in the Bible that keep your temple, keep your vessel clean and clear, and that's all a part of that. But humanity has not done good to Earth with the plants, the GMO testing, the way that we have done mass production.
But this will help though the energy, because I'm kind of, besides our, yeah, I know, I want to hear them say it.
All they keep saying is, gosh, they're saying it's your thoughts that create your reality. If you think it's going to be good, it's going to be good. However, they do know proof that goodness that comes that's closer to Earth of purity is always better for the body.
It just seemed like they were really pushing me then. Well, let's talk about
They
me.
are, because your body needed it, is what they said.
For this event.
But yes, your body needed it for this event, but it's not just your body. Everyone needs to change away from purified, man-made
Process, you mean.
stuff. They've got to get rid of. I mean, we already know it's all that box stuff, it's all that frozen stuff, it's all that sugar, it's all that fructose, that GMO corn, the gluten stuff that's not good on the market. We all know that. The soy was one of the worst things ever.
So here's another thing. Do you think then, because clearly, like 90% or 95% of people are not going to change what they're eating, do they say there might be a separation from the people who are eating cleaner, purer, higher foods and people who are still choosing to eat those denser, chemicalized foods? Is there going to be a separation?
Eating the denser foods will have to stay in the healing domes longer. They might not have a choice of coming back down to Earth because they've already had a chance and they didn't do good on their chance. That's kind of funny. However, remember, it's a judge. They said you're putting the judgment on it, Kris. Don't put the judgment. Every human soul has a way of how they want to learn, Sue. So as you have learned to keep your body whole and good and healthy and doing these shifts and changes, that is good because it's helped preparing more people that are making the choice of wanting to stay on Earth and not have to go to another place that they have to have longer healing aspects done to them, because we're already healing ourselves in preparation for staying on what do we want to call more like an Adam and Eve Earth scenario.
And then also I teach, about the wild edibles, and I did that last weekend using plants.
Yes.
And I tell people, just pretend we might have a temporary no power situation, and you might need to know what to eat and what to use for medicine.
Exactly. And they've already told me that, and that's why when I was walking 2 years ago with a friend around the lake, and I was like, ooh, don't eat those berries. Like, how do you know those are poisonous? Like, intuitively they're telling me you can eat this, you can use medicine with this. I mean, it just came like this movie screen, like which plants I could eat, which plants I couldn't. They were like doing this little digital thing in my brain of what the scientific name of the plant was. So I was like, this is cool. I didn't even know I had this ability.
So, yes. I'm just going to plug myself here. So I wrote it. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Everything that you're doing is going to help everyone in this transition. So you definitely need to be able to share this and do this.
Yeah, so I wrote a book, Wild Edibles for Survival and First
Yes.
Aid. It's on Amazon, and so is my other one, Closer to the Sun, a recipe book for health for the next evolutionary phase of mankind. But what I'm saying, is there going to be a temporary power outage that these plants you would need to know, just even a month or 2 weeks or whatever?
They're telling me on the new earth, for those that choose to stay, it will all be of help. But they're not giving me a clarity, even though I've seen it in visions and dreams of blackouts. So they're saying with the new earth, this is information that people are going to need to know. And it's really interesting because some of it they're going to know already, and others are going to need to know it. We're not all shifting to the same level. We're all still shifting to different levels. So at whatever levels are those that have this great desire to want to rebuild Earth in a sense that they're going to replant things, they will be utilizing your book to a very high level.
Okay, and
So
then,
it is good that you've written this.
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did.
They're not telling me that we're necessarily going to have blackouts, but they are telling me that for those that are left, because they're still showing a wave of events where, yeah, they said, you're right, Kris, 2/3 of the earth is not here.
which is what the Bible says, 2/3.
That still, I didn't, when I kept getting those dreams, you kept telling me the Bible said that, and I didn't even know that. So that's really interesting that they're saying a part of this event, people want to witness it, then they're fine, they don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, and just so you know, you also said 5 years ago when Robert died that he was working on engineering back then, which I know you don't remember, but it was
No.
the most bizarre thing because that was totally not his life. He was a fisherman, but
Right. I
yeah.
told you back then.
Yes, you said engineering. It was just so bizarre. I was like, it's not in his character. Never mind creating
No,
planets.
I'm like, it's not, like, I know you don't know this man to be an engineer, but yeah, that's what he's doing on the other side. That's the part of his hidden lifestyle here on Earth of wanting to do other things.
All right, so let me ask you another question. The person who's helping us today, his name is Tom Keiffer. He does videos and websites, and he's one of those.
He's really good.
Oh.
He's really good with all this stuff.
Yeah, very, very good with all that. If anyone needs anything, what would be your website? Anyway.
I didn't want to plug that today.
But what? No, this is the question I have. He wrote a book called T.U., which has a big picture of an Earth on it, which is also sold at Amazon, right?
The book's on Amazon. The book 2 in the collectors.
2 in the collectors.
Yes.
So here's what I want to know is, and that talked about ships coming to take people off of Earth.
Yeah, but the ships are looking differently than what we think ships are looking. They're planets.
So was he tapping into something to write that book? Because so much of that story is kind
Yeah,
of.
it was downloaded. It was downloaded by the people that he'd ancestors of his, the same as we've talked the giants, and then we've talked about the Pleiadians. So yeah, there are definitely the ETs, and he is connected with that. It was a download for him to send that out, and Tom's there. I don't want to
Yes.
talk into a third person. So
That's
Tom,
okay, yeah.
you had to
Here,
write this
you wanna
book
come over?
Sure.
for the event.
I'll just let him
and
sit.
please know that this.
Oh,
this
to
was
prepare
a-
for the event.
to prepare for the event. They're saying you had to write this book because it was a download to try and get everybody ready for the new Earth, or to understand that we are more than just humans here. We have this intergalactic connection, and that's a part of where you wanted to wake people up to say, don't be surprised that this is existing. I'm not the only one that knows this. Like NASA has hidden it, the government has hidden it. There's so much of what I want to call that conspiracy thing that you found out about and said, well, what's truth and what's not truth? So you were guided by your loved ones on the other side, as well as the people that you talk to here. All I can do is say it was a spiritual, I have to get this out. I have to get this truth out. And what I'm here to tell you is that the angels are very blessed. You completed it. They're saying there's another book in your brain. They would love to have you write the second one. However, you're wondering about, how well did the first one go over? But the first one is going to be very well read once we get closer to more of this spiritual awakening or this tipping off zone. Are you understanding that?
Absolutely. Would it help you for me to give you a little more detail about it? Is that not a good idea?
About the ships, and you have seen the same thing that I have with people being uploaded onto the ships getting, shifting and going places, but that is going to be a part of what I want to call our future travel, that is going to be a part of everyday life that we don't know right now.
Well, according to the story that I feel was given, was that these people are from Andromeda. They are being told by a galactic federation that they need to come back here and clean things up. That we have been an unguided race, unguided species for thousands of years. We're basically unguided, and that everything we have has been adding up to our own self-annihilation. Yes. And so that was the essence, and that I was given detail about these people. They come from Andromeda. They are... I didn't understand a lot of the concepts I know now. I wrote this back in 2013. I didn't understand a lot of concepts about third or fourth dimension or ninth dimension or any of these kind of people. I got an impression of who they were and what they were capable of, and that a group of scientists in this story had gone to their planet, and it was so disruptive to them that only one of them came back sane. The others were so traumatized going there that it was just too much for them. And they wound up having to go into a healing center for a while to heal from their experience. Another thing was that these people could not be around us because of our negative energies. It was difficult for them. They would actually physically suffer from being around us.
Yes, but you have to understand that there is a species here that feeds off of our negative energy.
Right, no, I'm aware of that.
The negative, but yes, many of our ancestors that helped create us are being asked by the God, the vortex, they had Honcho that was in charge of creating everything. I don't know which one to call him. I call him God. But just know that they are being told, you need to come back and help Earth, because it is time that we're not going to allow it to blow up. Even though there was talk about it, that are we going to go into a blow up, fire or ice, or World War III? But there is still supposed to be a World War III. But recently I've been told, and I need to tell Sue, just the last 2 weeks I've been told it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I heard that too, that they have monitoring nuclear facilities, and they're not going to allow it.
I've been in the meltdown, so we're not going to be allowed to do our World War III, or if it is, I've even been told it's 3 days. It's like World War III is 3 to 5 days, but we're done of whatever that may or may not be, of trying to send out missiles to each other, and they're just disappearing, going, oh, wasn't that a great little war? What happened to the missiles?
Right.
That type of thing, because they have the ability to eliminate anything that might be destructive to Earth. They're letting small activities happen. However, they are getting ready to do a takeover. And whatever you can write about, they're saying, yes, go for it. You are very right. It's not just Andromeda I'm hearing from the angels. They're saying there are other planets coming down to also assist, but they are one of the big players. Yes.
The second book they wanted me to write, or that I felt impression to write, was that we, in our future, after we kind of go through all of this, we are then going to other planets to help those people that we're actually going to be on, like expeditions.
Because them ascend, yes.
Yeah.
Once we've gone through this, and that's why we're a soul in a body in Earth at this time, because we were all trying to guess when this time was going to happen on Earth. So many people started, there was more masses of, there's been more increases of people on Earth for the experience of this. At one time, they wanted to stop and say, no, we can't have that many. We need to create, whatever they have to do of creation. But because we have free will, we can do so much. But I am here, the angels want you to know, please, 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 start writing that second book.
Okay.
It is going to be known. And the first book, I would love to read about it.
I'll send you the link. I'll send it to you.
I've definitely seen different people going in the flying. Whatever those sci-fi movies are, it truly is a lot of that going to be happening. There was a movie, I think, called The Fifth Element, and I do see an aspect of some of that actually happening.
I have a question. I have another question for you. Can you get an impression of, one of my struggles right now is trying to understand my role, and trying to understand, because I feel tasked to do something, and I'm kind of looking for some guidance, and I also want to understand maybe and I don't need a complete reading, but I'm just curious as to if there's any impressions about who I was in previous lives or anything like that, if there's something that comes up.
Oh, you need to understand, each individual on Earth has had anywhere between 700 to 1,000 past lives.
Okay.
Many past lives of yours have been on other planets. I keep seeing the big one on a planet where you had no body. I want to say Octurians, although there's positive and negatives of all planetary beings, whether it's positive, negatives, Pleiadians, where we've heard Pleiadians are always all good. No, there's some little negative devils, there's good and bad humans, but it's all in a learning, growing path. So they are telling me that you have been around. I want to say that at one time you worked with Tesla. At one time you were part of the railroad expansion. At one time you were certainly part of monastery monks, because there's a spiritual aspect of you. There has been a part of you that you get so dang tired of the world, and you want it, and you want it right now on this material world, because you've been a king before. And so you've had some royalty background. So you have had quite a variety of, I want it now. But I do see this whole, what I want to say, scientific thing, like almost like working with Madame Curie or Pasteur, or something to do with a scientific aspect, because your brain is very go to solution all the time. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily an engineering, but you have a naturalness with what I want to say, computers, because you've always worked on computers and creation on the other side all the time in between your lives on Earth. But you had to be on Earth to watch part of Earth's ascension to be able to be better prepared for how to work on the Earth when you come down each time. I do know that there's a part of you that they said your highest level is creativity, however you can create. And right now you came down, and I would say maybe your first 25 to 30 years learning about materialism, but from maybe there was an event that hit you mid-20s, late 20s that said, I don't need this material world anymore, whether it was taken away or shift or learning, that then from that point on it has all been spiritual. And the spiritual just meaning relationships and connections with that. You have a gift of writing. I would say continue. You have a gift of words. You're a natural counselor to humanity. And do know that you don't even know the shining light that you shine for the words that you give to help others in just a simple truth. And even though people don't want to hear the truth, I'm hearing, Tom, that's your spiritual path. Do you understand?
Yes, absolutely. And that, a lot of that all resonates with me. I guess what I'm...
Yeah, that you were a king, that you were also...
Was it on this planet then, or was it elsewhere as well?
Many planets. You've played leadership on many planets. So that feeling of being in charge is a common theme that's within you, and you might have always felt like you need to take care of others, you need to be in charge of others, you need to save others, because a part of that was in your heart, learning that role, like Buddha, like Siddhartha, like Buddha as a boy. I wouldn't say that you're a reincarnated Buddha, but it would be similar to somebody trying to learn the spirituality of things, similar to like a Dalai Lama. So there are aspects, and I don't want to say that you are either one of those, but it would be similar to a leadership role, like how we rever those two individuals here on Earth as high-level spiritual beings.
All right.
So you would much like that on other planets.
So here's the question I have for you. I felt compelled, before I wrote the book, I felt compelled to get involved with ufology. I got drawn into ufology. For me, it was interesting and entertaining. Then I began working with a guy in California, helping him with his radio show. He was interviewing all the top ufologists, and that was interesting. And I had registered a website called Free People of the Cosmos, and I was posting UFO videos on it. Well, I kind of lost interest in that, let the site sit for a while, and then I started writing the book, and one of the characters in the book was a fan of that website and the UFOs on the website. Well, then I let that sit for a while, and then I felt compelled in 2015, I guess it was, to actually do something with this. And so there's the .com and then there's the .org. So I formed freepeopleofthecosmos.org. And it's a 501(c)(3). It's a non-religious charity by IRS standards. It's a spiritual organization, okay? But there's no religion. It's basically open. It's a place for people to do... Yeah, and you can go to freepeopleofthecosmos.org and learn about it. So I've been lacking some guidance on where to go with it and how to promote it. I created a meetup group.
And what it's for.
And what it's for, service to others.
No, ask her what it's for.
Oh, okay. I thought it was service to others projects, helping clean the beach up, helping old people, helping veterans. But I'm curious as to what you're getting on that. What's the...
So I'm asking for him, why would they have wanted him to make that, potentially?
Well, a part of it is that you had a drive to help clean up Mother Earth. That you've already been given this drive of, I need to do nonprofit things, I need to wake up the world, I need to help out.
Right.
And so you're a part of a leader for that.
I just want to ask you, why would they have wanted him to make that? Why did they want him to make that?
Oh, they want him to make it because he is compelled as part of his beingness on earth to help earth. You're an earth angel to help earth and to help people. So, of course, everybody that is guided to do earth-connected things, which you are too, Sue, and the idea of sharing with things that are planted, the way things...
No, but
earth-
let me ask you this though: is it to also collect names to gather community to to have a place where people are because
Well,
there's
that's what all these groups are. To have people
but for another reason, another reason, like to be set up for a future reason.
Am I on hold?
Because every single person feels like whatever they've created is their special niche or their special tribe that's going to help them as a group grow from one level to another. So everybody is really on this entrepreneurship, trying to find their tribe, trying to find their group. Now, you had to create yours, and I think it's interesting that people have different journeys on their life as to how this was created, how they've been pushed by spirit, pushed by others, pushed by friends, pushed by families to say this is what we need to do right now. And it might be that this is a now time that was very important to get it out. Sometimes things are stagnated, or what I want to call a birthing time, that other things have to come in, different people, different activities have to be done, then it'll take off and go more. Same as when I was guided, you got to get this Reiki, you got to get this Masters, you got to do this Reiki. So I did all this Reiki and it was kind of sat dormant. Like, I don't even like doing Reiki, but it's fine. I have a natural gift. I'm really a natural teacher, and all of a sudden I was guided, you need to teach this, like right now. So then all of a sudden all these classes started forming around me, and all these people that I've taught Reiki to, they are now out there doing Reiki, teaching, doing so much more. So you're what I want to call a seed planter, opening up doorways for others to say, you can do more than just sit and twiddle your thumbs. There's so much more we can do more in numbers than we can individually. So I would say the more that you have a stronger intention of whatever group, meetup group, online things, and I would say don't recreate the wheel, which we already have, that if one thing works for you, it's word of mouth that's going to get you going again, mostly.
There's a delay.
You're trying too hard to get it out too fast, and a lot of people are not quite ready for it. Some are, some are not. So right now, you're ready, they are not. The same as Sue has been ready a lot longer and faster and before others. So I would say, Tom, this is kind of a lesson in trying to learn how to balance, to say if this isn't taking off, then what else do I need to work for? Okay, they're telling me, get your second book written. That's why it's slow right now.
Oh, good time to write a book.
It'll go when it's supposed to go.
Okay, all right, I accept that. My heart really is the visual, the video, the photography. I got an award in 2010. My work was displayed at in Miami at the Miami American Airlines Arena for the city's birthday party. They called me up at random. I didn't even ask. They called me up and they said, no, this is not a fake phone call. They probably spent several $1,000s displaying my photography.
So let's just wrap this up for the event. Anything else that we want to end with?
Our sun has changed colors. We have more than one sun. There's a lot of NASA playing games with our sun. But it's interesting, to say the least, about that whole sun energy on the horizon. It had to happen. It had to happen in different ways. Not saying it's a right, wrong, good, bad, whatever way. But yeah, for whoever this person is that chose to start channeling that energy, I think it was a wake-up call for everybody to say, what's really going on with our sun? Can our planet survive without a sun? No, it can't. Is this our only sun right now in a 3D world? Yes. But is in our future we're going to have more suns? Yes.
Interesting.
So
I don't have to ask the question.
Well, are you?
yeah, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Speaking about that, I wasn't going to bring this up, but do you see that we might have a sun simulator blocking our real sun? People
We
are.
already do. It's been coming in and out at different times. It's only been there maybe in the last 10 years.
So that because of our real.
Existing all the time. Okay, so when did we notice that the sun changed a color? That's when it started. Do you understand? I don't remember the timing, but we talked about it.
Yeah.
So when our color of the sun changed, it wasn't that
White.
golden yellow, it was a white, or it
Yeah, it went from
when
yellow
the
to
sun
white.
would shift, That was when the ETs, or part of NASA working with ETs, did what I call a sun simulator. And a part of it had to do with, as everything is ascending, our sun is also ascending. With that ascension of the sun, we can be obliviated. They would not allow it, hence a simulator had to be put in place. Humans are just figuring it out.
So you don't see part of the reason for the sun simulator because the real sun behind it is being eclipsed, and they're trying to cover the times when we're going dark so that no one is, getting...
There is something that is coming, that the sun has to go through a shift where there is supposed to be an eclipse aspect of it. So whatever's going on with the simulator from the ETs and NASA, it's supposed to help us, not hinder us. So keep that in mind. It's not, if it's a game, yeah, it's a game. Does everybody in the United States, everybody in the world need to know? No, if they did, they'd be mad, call it a conspiracy. Let's stop. We want to see the real thing. They want to see the real thing, which is what? Darkness for 3 months straight. Who can survive in darkness for 3 months straight? That then eliminates all of Earth souls, and we have to go somewhere else. That might be the ships that you're writing about there, Tom, but in the bigger picture, I'm seeing that there is some shifting and changes. But they're saying that as much as we on humans level, looking at the sun, knew that there was supposed to be a rotation of the sun that might show a blur of darkness for us, that's not necessarily the case. The sun has an ability to regrow on its planet of the sun, fiery energy all over. Although there's been a darkness spot that we saw at one time, I'm not getting necessarily that it is as big or as large as it used to be. I didn't even know that. That's just what the angel said. Does that help?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I want to ask a question. You mentioned these angels. Who are these angels?
Okay.
A little bit about that.
Archangel Michaelis and Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, and then since I retired, I was all business. Ariel has come in to allow me to play. And when you play, you get to manifest. So Tom, that's a key. We only create things when we're happy, enjoy, fun, gratitude, attitude, getting your float on, the high, whatever you want to call it, high on life. My kids at high school was like, what are you eating? What are you drinking, Miss Gibbs? You're high all the time. Like, give us your drug. I was like, green juice? Okay, yeah, see, it's your liquid diet. That's what I was doing, banana greens, every day as I was teaching. And the time we go and play to the other side with our loved ones, and we actually work on the ascension aspect of the earth in our sleep time on the other time. That's why sometimes when we wake up, we're like, oh my God, I'm so tired, what did I do? And, it's more than restless leg energy. It is, we were just busy because we are multidimensional. The best way I think I've explained it is when we're driving and our body's in the car getting us from point A to point B, but our mind isn't there. Our mind's everywhere else. And all of a sudden, like, wow, how'd I get home? The other thing they wanted me to talk about the event is, Tom, maybe on some subconscious level, do you know that money's not going to be of great importance in the future?
Well,
and I would say, I would agree that it is not. And I
It's in the book. It's in the book.
I owe a great student loan for my daughter, $50-some thousand, that I haven't even really paid very much on, that I'm being told, do not worry, you're not going to have to pay that in your lifetime. Now, the government hears this like, no, you do. But I've also been told, which I don't know is truth or not, that this is the last time we're ever going to have a president, that there's going to be this shifting event, and Trump is our last president, that we're going to have a different type of political system. What it is, I'm like, I don't know, maybe Parliament without the Queen. I don't know, everybody really getting in a room.
It's a geniocracy.
he actually has some political stuff in his book. And so we'll put the links up for everybody for my 3 books, his book, 2 in the collectors,
We'll get yours on there,
and
yeah,
your
absolutely.
information if anyone wants to
Yeah,
contact
and
Kris
I
Gibbs in Colorado.
Yeah, change my website, but I would just put on angelreadingsbykris.com, Angel Readings with an S by Kris.com, all one word.
And Kris is Kris.
Just one S, yeah.
It's angelreadingsbykris.com, right?
Correct.
So it's ANGELREADINGSBYKRIS.com.
Yes.
Okay. We'll put the words on the below.
Well, I'm going to have you both. I'm going to have you both on my channel because I have Free People of the Cosmos channel. It's Free Cosmos on YouTube. I've got 7,700 subscribers, so I've got a fair number of people. They keep asking me to. They want people. They keep saying, "When are you going to do your next interview? When are you going to do it?" And I'm like, I've been in a state of change, and I've kind of been waiting. And
This month of March March has been transformational.
The last 3 months.
It's been kicking off since January.
Thank you so much, Kris. This has been it's incredibly helpful and insightful. Thank you. So,
Good, thank you.
Yeah, so
and I'll send you the links. I'll send you the book. I'm just going to send you the PDF, and
And just send me what you can, and you can send it on greatteach9@gmail, or the other link, whatever is through my angelreading.com. I get both of them. Okay.
I'll send. Yeah, in fact, Susan can. She's probably got all those right.
Yes.
I'll get her. For
Yeah,
you.
my greatteach9 @gmail. That's easier to get things, because the other one is angel side. If people want a reading with me, they want to talk and discuss some more, they want to call me. That's kind of,
Okay.
either way. I do 3 things the most. 4. I do Facebook. That's about it. Don't ask me to do LinkedIn or Facebook or Snitch or Twitter or whatever all that other stuff is. Facebook is kind of what I do. Don't even have a business site. I finally got a website up, and I'm still trying to figure out how to run it. I got on.
maybe we'll do this like once a month, because I really do kind of
Totally.
still feel May or June something big is going to happen, whether it's
I
this
feel
or
like
something
we feel like
else.
something big is happening. We don't know the when. So all we can do is discuss what has happened in that month's time of
Yeah.
energy going on planetary wise. Because I do know a lot more of waking up. I am busier than I think I've ever been in my whole life.
Well,
And
I
don't
think
know
there's
what
a
it
big
is.
surprise. There's a big surprise in May or June, because that's as far as they show me. So they're hiding something from me personally. Then that
Well, they're
the big
telling
change
me
is coming.
they're-
Yeah.
Yeah, they're telling me it may be occurring during the eclipse time, because eclipses are big wake up times, and they might hide it within the eclipse energy. So we have Cancer, like the middle of June. We have Aquarius, middle of July. Cancer eclipse, very slight one, the middle of July. Aquarius, strong, big eclipse. Like we had a Leo one the last time across the United States. I think it's halfway across the United States again, that we're having one in Aquarius energy of service of humanity, connections of hearts, and that's going to be the end of July. And in the middle of August, we have the Leo energy of, wow, what happened to everybody else? I need to get my own ducks straightened out. What do I need to do to take care of me? Oh my, it's like a big OMG moment. And then into the fall, we have a lot of planets that are in retro motion. And in that retro motion, we're feeling like we're in slow motion, moving forward, trying to figure this new energy out. It's like a baby being born. Like, oh my God, I gotta learn how to walk.
You're saying it right
Question.
there.
Breathe.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to walk.
I think
again.
my guess is that something this summer, maybe, but we'll try to do a monthly update.
Part of what I'm getting from you too, Kris, is this is something I kind of maybe felt for myself, and maybe this resonates with you, is that sometimes we're not allowed to see the timelines, because by knowing the timelines, like asking when it's all going to happen, screws up the timeline, because it's like you can't know, because you have to find out on your own, or like
Exactly.
we're talking
It
about.
has to be a surprise.
Yeah.
It has to be a surprise.
Because it's so great, they want it to be your surprise party.
Yes.
I'll take
Yes.
it.
Like you said, I've been told. We can't be told, but I think it's nice that the secret's coming out, and I think that it's good that the light workers, or those that are very spiritual, need to know about this. We've all been feeling the last probably 2 to 3 years something big's happening. What is it? And we're all kind of getting this mixed message of, is it a downfall of religion, and is it an opening up of religion? Is it a political game that's being played? Of course, there's so many political games being played. Is it a World War III? And then, of course, I've always been told we have a big shift change on the Earth, like an earthly planetary shift, and then we have a cosmos. And they've talked about it in that discussion of a cosmos event that's going to be happening. And I've always seen the ET war. Like, it's like Star Trek. It's pretty
Well, I've
cool.
heard that a lot of this that's going on, that's making people miserable, is in that Back to the Law of One, they call it catalyst. That some people will not change without these extremes, without the political
course.
change. They're not going to change. They're just going along with status quo. You're going to stay that way. And this disruption, Trump being one of them, I'm not a fan of Trump. And I'm being told, that a lot of this is a cover, that he really knows more than he's letting on. I don't know if that's true or not.
He's a puppet that has to bring on the chaos, so everybody gets kind of like the orchestra.
It's a disruption.
Getting started. The disruption. He came in for an aspect of the disruption that is supposed to do a mild wake up for people in preparation for the bigger one. However or whatever his role is. And there's also undercovers, and I don't always like everything he does. Personally, I'm hearing is he is having to do what he's supposed to do to create the chaoticness, which is part of the cover-up and the cloaking before the event happens. So if you see it that way, try not to get too upset at all the craziness of what he does. Just know that this is a part of people getting hooked into that, and it's a part of them, what I want to call, it's like the quiet before the storm. But sometimes when you get so hooked in to everything else that's going on, it's kind of like, I don't know, like when we have this big march going on, what else is being run through the government? What else is going on the side that they
Distraction.
don't want to know?
Distraction.
It's very much what they want to call a distracting mechanism, and Trump is playing that distracting mechanism to the highest and so well of what I want to call.
He has the ability to get everyone addicted to watching him.
Yes.
Good or bad, everyone is addicted to Trump.
That's true.
Well, I'm not. I could care less, but every time I visit my parents, we have to watch, we have to watch, we have to
So
watch.
as far as a distraction, he has everyone looking at him.
Yes, and that is a part of what I want to say. He's doing what he's supposed to do quite well, but those that are watching, Trump has to play this role. He has to be the puppet. He has to be the one that tears down the the political aspect of what's going on in America, because it wasn't working. And so it is the first time a president is actually entertaining the idea and having it on TV of a talk with people that have been hurt. When does that happen? Never
All
seen
right.
it before.
Okay, well let's end it there. I think we've covered a wide variety today, and we'll like do another update. Let's do a monthly one because I really do feel something in June. So we'll see. But
We can do it.
here we are creating with our wizard. You
Yes.
see that?
Oh, I love you, little wizard. Cute. Cute. I love you, little wizard.
Well, thank you, Kris. I really appreciate you taking.
All right. So hope everyone enjoyed this, and we plan to do more because I feel that we're going to get much more information. This was just the very
This is the taste,
beginning.
Tip of the iceberg and talk. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kris.
You'll be
Thank you
thrilled
so
with
much.
this.
Doing readings and bringing in
Thank you.
your sister, your
Oh yeah, that was
sister,
amazing.
your side.
That was amazing.
Thank you, and your brother energy, the things that are going on with you, Tom. So
Thank you so much, Kris.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
All
Talk to you
right.
later.
Peace, everyone.
Thanks. Peace.
Bye.